In seeking what the Scripture has to say about peace, some of it speaks to the peace that we would offer in the circumstances of our own lives. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Cissna, Illinois, with your thoughts for Friday. There may be times in our lives when we would not seek to be in the circumstances in which we find ourselves. Perhaps God is using these times to be able to teach us, or perhaps even to teach others. Such seems to be the case in the children of Israel in Jeremiah's day when the prophet was living and speaking for the Lord. These chosen people of God have been taken away captive by the enemy. Now, we certainly believe that God is using the enemy in this instance to punish his people for their sins. But Jeremiah says in Jeremiah 29:7, "And seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace." You know, we are often reminded that we are to seek peace among those around whom we find ourselves living and working. Paul tells the New Testament church, "As much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men." In other words, if there will be strife, don't let it come from your actions or from your words. And in Jeremiah, he is calling for his people to seek peace even in the city of their captors as they live in exile from their homeland, as strangers and even as prisoners here. This must have been difficult to take, knowing that they worship the true and living God, yet now they find themselves as prisoners of this godless nation and this godless king. So God does not call for rebellion, but he calls for his people to seek peace in that city. One commentary says, true religion teaches patient submission, not sedition, even though the prince be an unbeliever. And we find ourselves as hostages. This is just a foretaste of the New Testament teachings of showing love for our enemies. Jesus said, "Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you." Do we know that those who are difficult to get along with, maybe they're just plain rude to us? Actually, are we ever that way ourselves, maybe being difficult or rude to others? The captive Hebrews were commanded to seek peace in their difficult circumstances. Notice that God admits that he's caused them to be carried away to this place. He says not only to seek peace among these people, but to pray for their peace. And he promises that in their peace, you will also find peace for yourselves. I don't know if this means others will try to treat us better if we will just find the secret to contentment in our circumstances, experience God's peace. No matter how it comes, we find peace when we seek peace and pray for it, even for others.